You don't know me. You have never been in my house, and you are not part of my world. This is what I think about when I encounter resistance. And I'd like to tell you why I use those three statements to draw myself up short and to allow myself to pay complete attention to resistance. And I'd like to tell it in a story. I was called, a number of years ago, we got a call in our company, project manager, you have to come and help us. We're in just a mess. This project has failed 3 times, and it's really simple. It's a change in reporting. You know, it's just a technology, should have been done in 30 days. Failed 3 times, we are in deep trouble. So we took a team, went over to the client location, the head office, and we spent a couple of days doing what everyone in this room would do. We listened. We listened to the project team in the head office talk about why there was so much resistance. We listened to them complain about the frontline staff and how they didn't understand how important this new reporting structure was. And finally, after about 2 days of listening to all of this explanation for resistance that made no sense at all to me, I said, has anybody gone to the site and talked to them? Dead silence. So the next week, the project manager and I got on a plane, went to the site. I'm not kidding, this is a true story. Got on a plane, went to the site, and we went to a room. It had about 50 or 60 people in it. We had put together the required PowerPoint presentation explaining the value proposition and, why, the benefits of this fantastic reporting system. And he got about halfway through his PowerPoint presentation when someone at the back of the room jumped up and said, "You've got to be kidding me," not the word he used, "if you think we're going to implement another word like that here." And the room literally exploded. The project manager I actually think was afraid for his life. He took a step back. I'm at the back of the room taking notes, and I have never seen anything. And I've had big projects, and I've had tough projects. I never saw anything like that. It was absolute chaos. Now, our 2-day trip to this site, which had to be 2 days because there were 2 flights a week, 1 flight in, 1 flight out. I'm sure some of you can identify with that. It turned into a 2-week trip for me because I stayed. And what I did is I went around and talked to all the people. I got to know their world. And the first morning I was there, I came into the office, I grabbed a coffee, I sat down at the desk they had assigned me, I turned on my computer, I signed in, I logged in, and nothing happened. And I thought, maybe I've done something wrong. So I did it all again, turned off the computer, logged in, nothing happened. So I went to the receptionist and I said, I tried to log in on the computer, but nothing's happening. And she said, "Oh yes, you have to go and get coffee and have a meeting now." And I said, "Coffee and a meeting?" "Yes, it takes about 20 minutes to download the email because we run on satellite here." Can you imagine people that have to wait 20 minutes in the morning to have their email download from a satellite connection for the internet? Can you imagine what bandwidth it would take to put in a new reporting system with, much more slicker, more, fancy dials and buttons, and, they're looking at it and saying, that's going to take me half a day. So I'm writing, and I'm doing, I'm following my model. And, the week progresses, and this will come as a huge shock to everyone in the room. I love to tell people what I'm going to do before I actually do it. So before I do an organizational assessment, I like to have a meeting with the people to tell them I'm going to do an assessment and explain it. Why is an organizational assessment important? What it looks like? what's entailed, who I will be talking to. So I had a meeting, threw up a PowerPoint slide that had, 3 bullets on it, and then showed them a spreadsheet that probably had 130 line items on it. These are all the things that we could be measuring and looking at, and we want your input. So tell me, who is it that we need to be talking to? Where are they? Finished the meeting. We all decided we'll go for coffee. In the coffee station, this was a very family-based and clan-based society. In the coffee station, the conversation turned to family. And one of the people, who was about, I'd say maybe 23, 24, told me that they were supporting their family. They were putting 2 brothers and sisters through school. They were supporting their parents who no longer worked. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness. And I looked around the room, and the other people were nodding, like this wasn't unusual. All of the people in this company had gotten a job so they could get better pay to support their family. And I said, oh my goodness, that must be so stressful for you at that age to have the responsibility of this huge family. And he nodded, and the conversation went on, and we went back to our desks. The next morning, this guy shows up at my office. He comes over to my desk. He says, hi, I'm, so-and-so. They told me to come and see you. And he nodded towards the coffee station. Okay, I said. About what? And he said, they told me to show you. Okay. And out he walked, and I followed him. And we walked down the hall and into another room. There was 10, maybe 12 people working there, diligently putting out reports. And I knew that this was a team that was going to be, impacted quite heavily by the new reporting system. And he walked me over to the printer, and we stood in front of it. And we looked at the printer. And in that moment, I knew we were a team. We weren't the resistors, and we weren't the project team trying to ram this project and this reporting system down their throats, because what we were looking at was a dot matrix printing, and what had been on the screen the day before as a sub bullet was laser printer required. So we go to their world, we walk around, we see internet, no internet. We see all the things that we don't see because we're thinking about other things or we're in head office. We take a look at their house, where they work, how they do their work, what they need to do their work and how they feel about their work, and then we get to know them. And whenever I run into resistance, before I start talking about all the things that are wrong and why they shouldn't be resisting, I think, do I know you? Have I been in your house? Do I know your world? And if I don't answer yes, I go and I listen.